We are officially getting a live-action LEGO Ninjago movie. Yes, you heard me correctly, a real, feature-length, theatrically released LEGO Ninjago live-action movie from Universal. This was just announced the other day, and let me tell you, even though this is going to sound extremely cringy, when I woke up to this news, I may have shed a tear or two, or maybe a bunch. The fact that we are entering the realm of Ninjago in real life is truly something that was not on my bingo card for 2024, but I guess you never really know what you want until you see it. What's up LEGO fans, it's LEGO Man Cam, and in this video I'm going to be discussing anything and everything that we know about this upcoming theatrical LEGO Ninjago live action movie, from the plot to the writers, the direction, and whether or not this is a good idea, because I know a lot of people are extremely skeptical, which is totally understandable. So let's start off here by talking about what we can expect from the film. If you are unaware, live action refers to a film having real people in it and it not being animated. Take for example, something like the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender series. It takes an animated TV show and turns it into real life. I think Avatar is actually a really good example here, considering it has so many similarities with Ninjago. Anyway, this announcement came literally out of nowhere just the other day on November 1st, as media conglomerate Deadline announced all the details for the movie, as well as the fact that Universal is also going to be making 3 more LEGO related films. However, we know very little about those, and I will be discussing them in a future video, as I do want to keep this one strictly to Ninjago. However, if you have been a fan of the channel for a while, you may have remembered I made a video a few months ago discussing the current and sad state of LEGO theatrically released movies. Well, I guess we now have our answer. Now, this movie is in early development, and I mean really early. So what do we know? Well, the biggest piece of information, which can give us quite a bit of insight into the direction the movie is going to be taking, is the fact that the Hageman brothers, Dan and Kevin, are writing the script for the film. If you don't know who they are the original writers for the first 6 seasons of Ninjago, as well as seasons 8 and 9. Now, just recently, I've been rewatching the entire Ninjago series from the beginning, as I had COVID and I literally couldn't really do anything else, but also to prepare for a future video that I'm going to be working on. Anyway, these original 6 seasons, I've got to say, are some of the best Ninjago that we've ever gotten. Sure, season 3 struggles a little bit, but seasons 4, 5, and 6 are a beautiful trifecta, and when the Hagemans returned for seasons 8 and 9, they created most likely the best 2-season arc in all of Ninjago's history. However, Dragon's Rising may prove this wrong if it continues to be as amazing as it has been so far. So with the knowledge that the Hagemans will be writing the script, this leads me in the direction that the film is going to be more of a live-action remake of something from the original Ninjago series, most likely either the pilot season or season 1. What that would be is the ninja team being formed by Sensei Wu to take on Garmadon's skeleton army, or maybe the ninja training Lloyd in preparation for the battle against the Great Devourer from the end of season 1. The reason I believe that this is where they'll most likely take the story is that these are the core fundamental seasons of Ninjago when it's at its most simplistic and easiest to understand for new fans. It does have a really simple premise with just a really core small group of characters too. My only take back here is the notion of both Lloyd and Nia. Beginning with Lloyd, he's undeniably the most popular Ninjago character, and he has been ever since he became the Green Ninja. Therefore, I feel like as though Dan and Kevin would really want to use him in action, as both in the pilots in season 1, he's either just absent in the pilots, or he's a little child in season 1 and doesn't really get to do all that much. I also mentioned Nia here because since season 5, she's become a main part of the ninja team, and it was by far like the best move they could have made for her character, and I would just hate to see her ninja status be taken away back to a samurai or just a helper like she was in Crystallized, which I really didn't like. Anyway, with some of that speculation about the story out of the way, let's discuss some more details that we know of. One thing is that you probably remember we already had a Ninjago movie release. This was of course the LEGO movie stop motion animated style, and it was seen as a pretty big failure amongst the community. It was the worst performing and worst rated out of all 4 of the Warner Brothers LEGO movies, and at the time, and still today, a large portion of Ninjago and LEGO fans kinda dislike it for completely reshaping the story and being something completely irrelevant to the main Ninjago plotline. Now, as I said before, the Hagemans did work on this film to some extent, but it was pretty minor, with a much bigger Hollywood-like approach being taken with the movie, with some big movie directors, writers, and of course the voice cast, which made the movie feel, again, very polarizing compared to the TV show. As I mentioned earlier, because of the movie being delayed, the Hagemans didn't actually get to work on Ninjago Season 7, and having rewatched it just recently, the drop-off in writing quality is extremely noticeable here. So I think the writing of this movie ultimately is in the right hands, as they are essentially the founding fathers of the Ninjago TV show. So let's now look at some more details that we know, and we can do this by heading onto Twitter to find some tweets by the Hagemans themselves, which give us some more insight into what we can expect. Also, just quickly, if you have seen a few of my videos and seem to enjoy them, please consider subscribing. It's totally free and it's the #1 thing that you can do to help the channel grow. Anyway, initially the brothers tweeted saying, "We've always dreamed of a live action Ninjago movie. Now it has a chance to become real. We are glad to be back in the saddle." Firstly, I think the wording here is very important, as they have said it has the chance to become real, which again tells you just how early this actually is in development, even though it has been officially announced. But I also love the fact that they're excited to be working on Ninjago again, as they did leave after season 9 in 2018 to work on some other projects. One commenter then asked, "I want your unbiased opinion. How excited should I be for this movie?" To which the Hagemans replied with, "We wouldn't come back to the world of Ninjago if we didn't think it would work and or make it better." That's really great to hear, but obviously, I'm sure that movie paycheck is going to be pretty sweet too. Tommy Andreasen, the creator and kind of like George Lucas of Ninjago in my opinion, shared his excitement for the movie too, expressing, "The Hagemans are back in business, true full circle moment, and I couldn't be more giddy for them and what this may mean for Ninjago and its full potential." I honestly really do hope Tommy gets to work on this movie in some way, shape or form, as his love and passion for the theme over the years is truly commendable, even if he may have left the theme to work on Dreams a few years ago. Anyway, the Hagemans then responded to his comment with a really interesting response, saying, "Thank you, Tommy. There's going to be some deep cuts, so all you new Ninjago fans better brush up." Now, this is a really intriguing comment in my opinion. To me, this almost confirms to us that the movie will be taking an old school Ninjago approach, taking us back to the early seasons from the early 2010s. Deep cuts is also an interesting phrase to use, alluding to some potential Easter eggs that maybe older fans of the theme like myself, and probably you watching too, will be excited to see in the movie. But it also means that the fact that they're already thinking about deep cuts means that they must have some rough plot line or story in place already. I lastly want to touch on some of the skepticism that I have, and a lot of people I've seen online also have about this too, so I'll quickly touch on that. Firstly is the fact that we've had a Ninjago movie in 2017, and while yes, it did bring some new fans to the theme, I wouldn't necessarily call it a success, as it turned a lot of people away. Thankfully, at the time, we had seasons 8 and 9, which were just totally amazing and almost just the complete opposite in terms of tone and feel to the 2017 movie, but the polarizing difference between the TV show and the movie kind of created a weird space for Ninjago at the time, as they almost felt like two entirely different entities. However, when I look at this live action movie, it will be different from the outset, and I think that's perfectly okay. However, it does need to have the same feel as the show, and that's why I think the Hagemans are back, as LEGO knows that. They want to give it that classic Ninjago vibe that we love, and that's why I think it'll most likely be a remake. If this movie were to be a success, this could seriously bring a bunch of fresh eyes to the theme, but as potentially more important, a bunch of older, returning eyes. If the movie takes a somewhat more mature, while still being kid-friendly approach, I can see a ton of older people who were fans as kids coming back out to watch this one, mainly people around my age, early 20s or late teens. I'm sure you may have seen the recent resurgence in Ninjago nostalgia with things like Ninja Cole YT's video, the TikToks and Instagram posts as well, referencing either iconic scenes, moments or jokes, all from those first couple of seasons. I think there's an interesting dichotomy created here too though, and that has to do with Dragons Rising, the current Ninjago storyline, with Lloyd in a new world training some new ninja, being Aaron, Sora and Wildfire, with support from the original ninja, but in less present roles as they previously were. Personally, I absolutely love Dragons Rising, as it seems as though they have a clear direction they're taking with a supposed 5-year plan that we've just finished year 2 of. But how will this compare with a potential return to classic Ninjago with this movie? I honestly think the two could work really well together and coexist, with the movie providing an entry or a re-entry for new or pre-existing fans, where they can then explore the newer content like the Wild Brain seasons and Dragons Rising. Ultimately, I think LEGO is recognizing the incredible power that Ninjago has and the fact that it has become somewhat of an entire franchise on its own. At the end of the day, this makes me feel really happy to have been a lifelong Ninjago fan. I feel as though I've almost grown up alongside the theme, and to see it flourishing like this is just amazing. With all that being said though, let me know in the comments what your thoughts on this movie are. Do you think it's a good or bad idea? What direction would you take it in? Something classic, something modern, or maybe something entirely new? And if you did go on to enjoy the video, please consider subscribing to help us hit our new goal of 15k, because we absolutely smashed 10k. Thanks for watching.